Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We are live right here on the Ramonepreston Show. If you are coming on, please do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Tag Lolly Dolly, everybody. I say tag Lolly Dolly, everybody, and let them know that your boy, Ramonepreston, my squad, we are live right here on the Ramonepreston Show. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, October the 6th, 2022. Thursday, October the 6th, 2022. We're live in real time, no replays, right here on the Ramonepreston Show. Good afternoon to you. Please be sure to hit the like button. If you're coming on live, hit the share button and tag somebody. Maybe you need to start name dropping, putting some names of some family members and friends and people you know in the comments who need to learn about holding companies, tax strategies, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and how to become millionaires so they can have financial freedom for themselves and for their families. So hit the like button, hit the share button, and please put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. Please let me know what city you're watching me from today. I really appreciate all of you that continue to watch the show, all of you that continue to support everything that we do. For those of you that give us positive feedback from all the content that we share and the value that we provide to our community, I want to say thank you so much. And for those of you that are watching live today, Thursday, October the 6th, I have a very special offer that I want to extend to you, especially if you really want to end 2022 strong. If you know you either have a business or you want to start a business, if you know that you want to increase your financial income, you want to make more money, you want to build a successful business, and you know that you don't have all the tools, all the strategies, all the resources, all the solutions that you need, even if it's just you setting your business up in a way so that you can obtain some type of funding or some type of working capital or some type of loan or credit line. A lot of that weighs heavily on how you put your business system together. And so I want to say thank you for joining the show today. For those of you that may not know who I am, my name is Ramonepreston. I'm the host of the Ramonepreston Show every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time, live like today, Thursday, October the 6th. I take time out of my schedule every day because I run an organizational enterprise. I have a nonprofit organization that I run. I have a for-profit organization that I run. And collectively, within my nonprofit and for-profit organization, I have a lot of responsibilities every day. But I love to have the opportunity every day around 12 o'clock noon to show up here on this show and to take about an hour and share information with you that I know can really help you properly start, properly structure, and at some point properly scale your business and your income streams. So again, today I want to extend a very special offer to you. Of course, after I give you the game, because I got some stuff that I want to share with you today, just to help you understand how important it is for you to take the last few months of this year and really make it count. So again, put in the comments what city you're watching me from, okay? I want to know what city you're watching me from. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to extend a very special offer to you, and you're going to have to respond today because my team is prepped up. My team is ready to really plug you into the best business and financial training and support that you can possibly get, especially if you're serious about starting and structuring and scaling a successful business or a successful income foundation for your life. If you want more money, if you want a bigger business, if you want to be great and be successful and see acceleration in your business and finances, at some point you're going to have to listen to somebody like me, take what I give you and put it to practice. And you're going to have ongoing support. You're going to have the people around you that can push you to make sure that what you are implementing and executing is actually working for you. So today, I want to talk to you about the 3 key components to a holding company. The 3 key components to a holding company. And I say this all the time. You might listen to people who may not know about holding companies, or they might not even think holding companies are necessary for small business owners. And I'm not going to say they're wrong, because they may be right for the people that they are working with. There was a great person that said, if you believe you can, or if you believe you can't, you're right, because you are free to believe what you want to believe. So if you believe a holding company can benefit you, if you believe the concept behind a holding company can make your other companies that are selling products and services better, if you believe in the benefits that this type of business structure provides for you, then guess what? You're going to practice it in what you do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. So for me, I am of the persuasion, and the success of my business proves that my persuasion that a holding company is the best route to go. It works for me, and it has worked for, at this point, hundreds of people that I have worked with as a business and financial coach and a consultant. And so I have the pleasure every day of talking to people like you, working with people like you, and showing people like you the advantages, the benefits, and the impact that having the right business system can make for you, particularly with regard to a holding company. So I'm gonna just take a few minutes today and share with you 3 key components to a holding company. Now, if you have any questions during the course of my little spiel, I want you to put the questions in the comments. My team, they always lurking. They watch the show while I'm on the show, while they do other things. And so if you have a question, drop the question in the comments. I'll come back around, answer the question, because I want to help you start. I want to help you structure. And if you already have a business system started and structured, I want to show you how you can scale it so that you could get to your next level. And you shouldn't be waiting till 2023. All right? You shouldn't be waiting until 2 years from now. You shouldn't be waiting to income tax time. You need to figure out what you can do today to scale what you have put together or what you are putting together. So 3 key components to a holding company. The first component is the infrastructure. The infrastructure. Now, when I say infrastructure, I'm talking about how you build your business enterprise from the bottom up, okay? So I like to look at your business infrastructure very, very similar to a house. Let's say if you want a house and you want to build your house from the ground up, and let's say you've already talked about what type of house you want built. You've talked to a builder or some construction people or contractors, and they've given you some type of sketches and ideas that, okay, you can have a house with a pool, you can have a 5-bedroom house, you can have a spa, you can have a basement, you can have a tennis court, you can have a bike trail, all these things that you talk to a builder about when it comes to building your house. And then you go out and you find a piece of land and you buy the piece of land, and then you start working with engineers and architects and environmentalists to make sure that the land is properly prepared for you to start building the house. Well, before you start building, let's say, the bathroom, before you start putting the pool in, before you start going to Haverty's or other, or Lazy Boy and ordering furniture, before you start putting pictures up, before you start bringing in your own appliances and your own clothes and your belongings, guess what's got to happen? You got to have an infrastructure. Building a business is the same way. See, here's what happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. They have an idea. You know you've been there because I've done it before. They have an idea. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm pretty good at this. I think I can make money doing that. And then all of a sudden, they go from idea to, let me start sharing it with some people. and let me start seeing if I can get some people to buy into what I'm thinking about as an idea. And then it goes from there to certain people start buying your shirts or buying your supplies or using your services or hiring you to do certain jobs. And now you feel like, oh, you're in business. But the truth is, you're not really in business. You just have a good idea that you have communicated to a group of people, and some of those people in that group have made a decision to do some type of business transaction with you. So even though you are, quote unquote, doing business, you really don't have a legitimate business infrastructure set up. It's no different than you finding a piece of property and then you going and pitching a tent on the property and saying, oh, I got a house. No, you ain't got no house. You got a piece of land with an idea to build a house, and you put a tent on there. But it's really not something that's sustainable over long periods of time. And so this is why the first key component to a holding company is your infrastructure. Now, again, when I talk about infrastructure, I'm talking about the foundation. So what is the foundation of your infrastructure? Well, the foundation is you understanding what a holding company is and understanding how a holding company is intended to work. So if you get, let's say, a lawyer or some type of expert to file and form your holding company paperwork, and they submit that paperwork back to you, and now you got an EIN number, you got your articles of organization, you have an operating agreement, and you think, oh, I got a holding company now. The problem with that is you really don't know what to do with that holding company because you have not educated yourself on what it is and how it actually works. You haven't learned the ins and outs. You know I'm telling the truth, because it's like anything. It's no different than buying a VCR or some type of radio or buying a phone or buying some type of gadget or piece of equipment, and you don't read the manual, you don't educate yourself on that piece of equipment or that gadget. You just open it up, you start pressing buttons, you cut it on, plug it up, charge it up, and you don't even know how to function it and use it. You know why? Because you have not educated yourself and learned the ins and outs about that thing. Well, a business, particularly a holding company, is the same thing. So once you at least put yourself in a position to learn and to educate about holding companies, the first key component to learning and educating yourself about it is learning and educating yourself about the infrastructure. So of course we have to file and form paperwork, but just that part, it's a whole lot of people that I talk to that don't even know how to file and form their LLC paperwork so that it can be categorized a holding company. A lot of people don't know how to do that. And guess what? If you go to, let's say, the IRS website to fill out your online SS4 form to get your EIN number, there's no category of a holding company. It ain't nothing on there that talk about no holding company. There may be some industries that they give you some information on when you're filing the paperwork, but it ain't no holding company. When you go to the Secretary of State, most Secretary of State portals, when you're forming your articles of organization, your legal entity with the Secretary of State, guess what? Some of these portals don't even have NAICS codes or categories for holding companies. I know a lot of people right now who have filed and formed paperwork for their LLCs, and they don't even have an operating agreement. And an operating agreement is like the constitution to your business system. Now, if what I'm saying ain't true, I want you to correct me. I want you to check me, because I talk to a lot of people who got LLCs, who starting LLCs, who want LLCs, who had LLCs, and who have not understood the key components of an infrastructure. So that means they have a good idea on paper. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs are. They got a good idea on paper. That means they have an EIN number, they got LLC articles of organization, they got this idea of having a business, but they do not even know how to operate that business because they don't have an infrastructure. So a part of your infrastructure, yes, it is to file and form your paperwork. A part of your infrastructure is drafting the correct operating agreement. But a part of your infrastructure is, and this is so important, and you gotta start understanding how important this next thing that I'm about to say is. The next part of your infrastructure is education. Educating yourself on what holding companies are, how holding companies work. See, a lot of people that I talk to who reach out to me about getting information on the holding company, about our courses, about me coaching them and walking them through each step of the process, a lot of them tell me, and you might know this to be true, a lot of them tell me, listen, I've looked on the internet, I've tried to find information on my own, and I'm only able to find a certain amount. There's only so much information I can find. This is what people tell me all the time. My staff, they hear it all the time, that people cannot find enough substantial information in one concentrated location to help them wrap their minds around how to build a solid infrastructure of a holding company. And so what happens is, what you do, you either don't do nothing or you just keep doing what you're doing. But if you spinning your wheels and in your mind you know there's something more to what you're doing in business. If you have a regular business and you operate in that business and you selling products and services and you trying to grow and expand and you just can't figure out what's stopping you from growing and expanding, and you know it ain't just because you're not making money, or it ain't just because you don't understand what you're doing in business based on what you're selling. It may be you just don't understand the infrastructure side of building a real organizational enterprise. So you have to learn how to file and form your paperwork correctly when it comes to a holding company. You have to draft the correct operating agreement and make sure the language of that for a holding company is in your operating agreement, and you need to get educated. Here's the good thing about what I'm sharing with you. Everything that I give people when it comes to my courses, when it comes to my coaching, when it comes to my programs, I put all this in here. So literally, I have walkthrough video tutorials. I literally have videos that walks you through each step of filing and forming your EIN, your articles with the Secretary of State, particularly for holding companies and for operating companies. Because once you get your holding company filed and formed, if you have more LLCs that you need to start under your holding company, you're not going to be the owner or the organizer and member of that company. Your holding company is. And so there are some nuances to that language that you have to learn. These are some of the ins and outs and nuts and bolts that you probably won't find on the internet. Most of the time, you're going to find a lot of people doing what I do a lot of times. We just talk about what you need. We just talk about how this entity can benefit you and the advantages of it. But very rarely are you going to find detailed, specific data, information, education and training on how do I actually do it. Now, the good thing is on my YouTube page, I have over 2,000 videos. And a lot of those videos, I do teach a lot of the nuts and bolts of holding companies. I do have shows and episodes like this that I talk in depth about some of the ins and outs and nuts and bolts. But guess what? I've got programs too, I've got courses too that you're not gonna find on the internet. You're not gonna find on the World Wide Web. And you're gonna have to at some point lean in a little closer and say, you know what, I wanna get what's behind door number one because I wanna learn this thing. At some point you have to do it. And again, if what I'm saying is true, if it's something that you know is accurate and it makes sense, I would love to speak with you to see how my team and I can help you. And again, if at any point while I'm talking, if you have a question, I want you to drop the question in the comments, and please don't hesitate to take my information down and reach out to me today, because I told you at the end of the show I have an offer. It's really a special one-of-a-kind offer because I'm preparing to host my last free public event in a couple weeks, And this last free public event that I'm hosting, I'm going to talk about holding companies. I'm going to talk about creative tax strategies. One of the reasons is because I want to help make sure that you as an entrepreneur and small business owner, that you don't go into 2023 without getting your books right, without getting your paperwork right, without wrapping your mind around what you're doing as a small business owner. It just hurts my heart to see so many entrepreneurs and small business owners put their time, their energy, their money, their relationships. They put so much on the line to get businesses started, and they don't have enough information to help them move forward. I want to help you make that happen. So again, if at any point you have questions outside of you putting it in the comments, all you have to do is reach out to us, because my team is always available. So even though I'm here on the live right now, my team is still available. So all you have to do is just text the word millionaire to this number right here, okay? You can call this number if you want to. It's okay to call the number, but when you text the word millionaire, what that does for me is, number one, you're telling me that you've watched the show or you have received some specific content from me that was tailored to some offer that I'm giving you, whether it's a free consultation, whether it's a free event, or whether it's an offer like I'm going to be sharing with you at the end of the show. So you could text the word millionaire to 404-478-7213. So let's get back to the first of my 3 key components to a holding company. The first component is what? Infrastructure. You got to get your infrastructure right. So again, if you are an entrepreneur and you got business ideas, so let's say you have certain products you want to sell or certain services you want to provide, even though you may just be focusing on that business, it will still benefit you. It will still be to your advantage if you had a holding company structured and you just put that operating business, I'm gonna put OC for operating company. So this is abbreviations. HC is for holding company, OC is for operating company. So even if all you wanna do is focus on this, you just want to sell your products, you want to sell your services, you want to get the bag, you want to make money, you want to expand and grow, you're still going to get benefits and advantages if this company that you're focusing on is owned by this company, because this becomes your parent company. This is where the infrastructure component plays a very important role, because here's what's going to happen. If you don't do this, if all you have is this, at some point, if you make enough money, you're going to want to reorganize your company infrastructure like this. I guarantee you're going to want to, because you're going to get sick of paying taxes or too many taxes. You're going to get sick of being confused about how you pivot into other businesses when this business is really not tailored to enter into other businesses. So for example, let's say if you have a service-based business, a lot of times it's confusing to you if your service-based business is making money, but you want to get into real estate investing because you got enough money to do that. Sometimes it doesn't feel right for this service-based business to go into real estate investing. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't make sense. So a lot of times what you do is you got to come over here and start another business just for real estate. And now you have to own this business. You have to own this business. And before you know it, every new idea you get, you own in new businesses, when it shouldn't be like that. What it should be like is, instead of you starting all these new businesses, you have one business that you own as a parent company, and this business owns other companies. So if this business starts making a whole lot of money and you see that, okay, I want to go into real estate investing, or I want to start renting cars, or just doing certain things in business to help generate more income, all I have to do is start a new business under my main business, and now I can move certain money around within my organization to simplify this process. All that is tied to infrastructure, okay? So that's the first component to a holding company. Let me give you the second component. The second component to a holding company is Integration. Integration. This is the second component to a holding company, integration. And I hope what I just shared with you about the first component, it made sense to you. This is the second component to a holding company. Oh, wow. I erased it by mistake. Let me put it up here again. Integration. So hopefully you understand what integration is. When something is integrated, that means it goes in. It is included, okay? Integration is the second key component to your holding company, because now you have to start bringing into your holding company the assets, the properties, the systems and the processes that are necessary for you to manage the day-to-day operations. Otherwise, you just got a business with an EIN number, articles of organization, a Duns and Bradstreet, a bank account, and you don't really know what to do with this business. Because in order for this business to function, any business for that matter, but especially if you're using a holding company concept and you have a holding company and you have other companies under it, in order for this empire, this organizational enterprise to function and to operate, you have to integrate certain things into it. Does that make sense? If you're not doing this in your business, whether you got a holding company or not, I already know you're probably not making money, because there is no business on this planet that's making money that doesn't have a proper infrastructure and a proper integration of certain systems and processes. So again, how do I implement integration? How does this second key component work within my holding company? Okay, here's your holding company right here. All right. And so let's assume you have at least one operating company that you want to start under your holding company. Okay, so let's say you filed and formed your paperwork. You got LLC number 1 done. This is your holding company. You sit at the top of it. You got LLC number 2 done, and now you ready to make money. You got products and services, and you ready to get out there and get the bag and make things happen. How does integration play a role into this type of infrastructure? Here is how. What you're going to need is systems. You're going to need systems. So you're going to need systems for your marketing, because somehow, in order for you to make money over long periods of time and be consistent with it, you have to be able to go to the market and get attention and awareness in the market. And when you get this attention and awareness in the market, somehow that attention has to come back to your business in the form of people who want to do business with you. When that happens, you have to have some type of system and some type of process for not just going out to the market and getting attention and awareness, but for bringing people back so that you can effectively and professionally connect with them and communicate with them. And what that is going to mean is not only will you need marketing systems and processes integrated into this infrastructure, but you're going to need sales systems and processes integrated, because once people come back into your ecosystem, now there's a process that has to take place most of the time for them to become paid customers and clients, right? Then once you create paid customers and clients from effective and professional marketing and sales systems and processes, now you have to track your income and expenses. And you're probably going to have to do this even before you market and sell, because you're probably spending money pre-revenue. So that means even before you make a sale, even before you put a marketing campaign out, you probably spending money, because you got to get your business set up. You spent money in the infrastructure stage. But typically, Once you have a marketing and sales system and process working, where you're able to go into the market, communicate your value, your ideas, get attention and awareness, bring people back into your ecosystem, generate conversions and sales so that they become paid customers and clients at a certain point. At a certain point, guess what's going to have to happen? You have to have financial systems and processes, because I always tell people, one of your biggest problems you're going to have once you figure out how to make money in your business, the next problem you're going to have is a tax problem. And tax problems are really tied to your financial accounting problems. So if you don't understand proper financial accounting enough to keep your financial books correct, enough to track your income and expenses, and know how to see how much free cash flow you got, and to know how to forecast the future income and expenses so that you can always stay on top of your financial activities. If you don't know how to do that, you're not going to succeed. It's just no way you're going to become financially free and become a millionaire. I don't see how. I've tried it so many different ways, and for years I failed because I didn't understand the things that I'm sharing with you. So it took me a long time. It took me thousands of hours. It took me reading hundreds of books. It took me studying and researching, experimenting. It took probably at this point a couple $100,000 for me to be able to get to where I'm at, to know the things that I know. But the proof is in the pudding. It shows up in how my business operates now. It shows up in how consistent my business is and how I'm continuing to grow my business, because I have created an infrastructure and I got integrations of systems and processes for my marketing, for my sales, for my financials. And then once you integrate that, you're going to have some type of operational integration. So now you have to be able to track the day-to-day operations. This is how you run the holding company. So I get people ask me those questions a lot. How do I manage the day-to-day operations of my holding company? How do I make sure that I stay on top of all these multiple business entities? I'm gonna tell you how. Through the proper integration of systems and processes for your marketing, for your sales, for your financials, and for your operations. There's no other way you're gonna do it. So if you don't understand this, if you don't have this information, and you don't know how to use this information in your business every day, it doesn't mean you're not going to succeed. It just means you may slow that success process down. Because I know some people who've been able to get past this, but over time they start glitching. They start having issues. They start spinning their wheels, and that thing starts breaking down because they don't have the infrastructure to support what they're doing, because they didn't integrate the right systems and processes into their infrastructure. So no worries. If you know you don't have information on this, if you know this is foreign to you and you're not familiar with systems and processes, you're not familiar with how to integrate marketing and sales and financials and operational systems and processes into your business, don't worry. I've got programs and courses that I can walk you through each phase of this so that you can learn and gradually grow into bringing that into your business. All right, I'm giving you the free game. Okay, number 3, the third key component to a holding company is, and this is probably going to be like something that you already know, it's just that you probably don't utilize it enough, okay, in your day-to-day life. So the third key component to a holding company is infusion. Infusion. So I hope you know what infusion means. When you infuse something, that means you are like pouring gas on a fire. That's what you're doing. Do you understand that? hopefully you understand what infusion is. So infusion is different from integration, because again, when you build the infrastructure and you get that correct, you got your paperwork filed and formed, you're getting educated on how to run a holding company, how to operate it, and you start integrating the right systems and processes, the next component is infusion. So infusion is not the polished, structure of systems and processes. Infusion is really the intangible things that you might not be able to provide for yourself. I'm telling y'all, I just hope you really wrap your mind around the things that I'm saying, because sometimes it's so hard for people like me to say things that I'm saying, especially when we're selling you on what we're saying. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm talking about how important it is to have a coach, have a consultant, have a mentor. I'm talking about how important it is for you to be educated on these things. But on the other hand, I'm a coach, so I'm selling you my coaching. I'm a consultant, so I'm selling you on my consultant. I'm an educator, so I'm selling you on my courses. So sometimes it's like, it sounds like it's a conflict of interest, but it is what it is. But that's the way the world works, especially when you're sold on what you sell. So I'm sold on how important it is for you to have a coach, how important it is for you to be in a community, how important it is for you to surround yourself with the right people and get that daily motivation. You need that every day. Listen, I need motivation. That's why I have a coach. And I have coaches in different areas, because I have certain areas of my life that I need an infusion every day. Every day I got to listen to certain videos. I got to watch certain videos. I got to train. I got to educate. I have to read certain books. I have to listen to certain content every day, because I need that infusion from people who have conquered what I'm trying to figure out, from people who have already mastered what I'm like on the amateur stage of doing, okay? So this is the infusion component. Rodney said, appreciate the gems. Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate you for being on the live show today. Rodney says, would it make sense to create a separate sister company for the marketing of my operation company rather than it being an expense of my operating company? Not necessarily. I mean, maybe at some point it may be necessary for you to separate it, but if you're just building your business out, I don't think it would be I don't think it would make sense to do that just for the purpose of having separate expenses, because if you have a holding company, even though your holding company may not necessarily be doing business with the public, but your holding company can do business with your operating company. So you can have that relationship like I do that. Like my holding company does certain operational activities. And I run those operational activities through my holding company because I'm doing business with myself. Even if it's with other entities, it's still with me. My holding company may just be the company that's managing that particular activity, but I'm not doing it with the outside world, so I'm not going to sue me. So I'm protecting myself because I'm doing business with myself. So sometimes you can really do that between your holding company and your operating company until it makes sense to do it. But initially, it don't really make sense to do that. I tell a lot of my clients, some of the stuff that they do, they should be doing through their holding company anyway. Just get some insurance, because you're not doing enough to make that big of a deal. Well, I don't want to expose myself and open myself up. Your holding company ain't got nothing. Like, it don't make sense. If your holding company has like $1 million worth of assets, and then you out here playing around for like $2,000 or $3,000 with your holding company, yeah, that don't make sense. But if your holding company is really just an entity that's empty, it don't have no money or a whole lot of money, it ain't got a whole lot of assets that have been valuated by real companies. Not this value we got in our minds, but it hadn't been valuated by real companies to say, okay, this is worth 200 grand, this is worth 500 grand. If that ain't the case, some of this stuff you should be running through your holding company. If for nothing else, you should be running it through there for the purpose of research and development, instead of keep starting all these different entities. So I know I went a different way with that answer, but that's what my answer would be. So what is the infusion component to your holding company? I'm gonna say it's mentorship. Of course I'm gonna say that because I'm a mentor. It's coaching. Of course I'm gonna say that because I'm a coach. It's community. It's community. It's networking. It's proximity. All these things that you get when you get connected to the right people. I'm gonna keep saying it because I'm proud of what me and my company have built. I'm proud of the community we have. I'm proud of what we have been able to accomplish, and I'm proud of the success that people are seeing in their personal, in their professional, and financial lives. So you doggone right, I'm gonna blow the trumpet on what my company can do. We can mentor you. If you want to be successful in business, if you want to be successful financially, if you want to build a very successful organizational enterprise the right way, if you want to have a holding company and operating companies and systems and processes that are working efficiently, if you want to be financially free, I'm going to be the first one to tell you that you need to be connected to somebody like me in my company, because I've done it. I'm still doing it every day, and I'm helping a lot of people do it themselves. So of course I'm going to tell you that you need that infusion. This is why I always tell my students and my clients, even if you just go onto my university platform and listen to a video a day, just listen to me for a couple minutes and join the show and watch the show and just read my emails when I send them and my text messages and not avoid that. Just that alone is going to keep you motivated. I have had people that have told me my emails motivate them. I've had people who are in my client base, people who are a part of my coaching programs and my online educational programs. I've had them tell me and tell my staff, I just get motivated by his emails because he sends emails every day, all day. But guess what? I'm around mentors and coaches and a community, and I have networks, and I'm in proximity to people who do the same thing with their communities. And so we're all a part of this massive community of moving and shaking and making things happen and operating at massive levels, because we know this is what it takes in order for us to push through all the pressure and all the disappointment and all the failure and all the crazy chaotic stuff that's going on in the world. You need an infusion. You need an infusion. You can't do this alone. You cannot do it alone. If you're trying to build a business alone, if you're trying to become financially free alone, if you're trying to figure out how to get to the next level alone, I know you're struggling. See, I was at a point in my life at a time when I thought that was the way to go. I was ignorant. I was blind to the fact that, man, you can just skip a lot of this stuff if you had a mentor, if you had a coach. And for me, I come from the church world because I've been in ministry for so long, and having a mentor in ministry, it made sense. It was like norm. Everybody had mentors in ministry that I was around. I'm a preacher, I'm a minister, so having a mentor and a pastor and a coach or someone who really, supports me in ministry, that was normal. I had many people that I considered to be mentors in ministry, but I really didn't understand the business side of it until I got to a point where I'm like, man, why am I struggling? Why I can't get ahead? And I'm like, oh, here's why. Finally, when I start digging deep, I realized you need mentorship. You need an infusion. You need somebody's voice in your ear all the time. Okay? So those are my 3 key components to a holding company, okay? Those are my three. So the first one is infrastructure. My second one is integration. And my third one is infusion. And I already know, listen, if you have never been a part of a coaching program, if you have never taken the time out to educate yourself in a consolidated, concentrated course about holding companies and tax strategies and systems and processes, I already know you're probably having issues with your infrastructure, with your integrations, and probably with your infusions. You don't have the motivation, the strength, and you just don't have enough information, and what you're doing is not working. You're spinning your wheels. And so I want to help you eliminate that. I want you to reach out to me. You can text me or you can call me. If you text, I want you to text the word millionaire to the number you see behind the screen. Okay? All right, let's see here. Rodney, we have another question. Rodney says, thank you. Afterwards, can you speak more on using pre-tax income from your operating company while allowing your holding company to invest in additional business? Lastly, how can your holding company leverage the sister companies to search after lines of credit? Oh, Rodney, there are so many things that you can do in order to do that. I've seen it so many different ways. I definitely don't even have enough time to talk about it all, but I'll give you a little bit of answer on that, just to honor the fact that you asked the question. But here's what I want you to do, Rodney. I want you to take this number down. I want you to reach out to me so that we can at least discuss what areas of your holding company or your organization that you just need some more information on, so that you can continue to accelerate your business growth process. I want you to reach out to me. Text the word millionaire to this number, or you could just call this number, and I'll be more than happy to take a few minutes to speak with you to see how we can help you. Now, I promised you, if you've been watching the show the whole time, that I was going to extend an amazing offer to you. So here's what my offer is, and I want to really give you an opportunity to take me up on this offer. So in a couple weeks, I'm going to be hosting my last public event for the year. All right, we won't be hosting another public event until 2023 after this last one in a couple weeks. During this event, I'm going to be talking about holding companies. I'm going to dig real deep into a lot of the principles and concepts for holding companies, and I'm going to be talking about creative tax strategies. So I'm actually going to be talking about both, even what Rodney just mentioned in his question. I'll be talking about both at this last public event. And so what I'm offering you for the next 2 weeks as we prepare for this last event, I'm offering you access to my 2 signature courses. One is on the holding company. I have an entire course teaching you all the ins and outs of holding companies. You're going to learn how to start them, how to structure them. You're going to learn how to use them, how to leverage them. I talk about advantages and benefits of having them. I talk about how you can invest through them. Everything that you need to know about a holding company, I teach in that holding company course. And I also have a do-it-yourself startup kit in that course that has walkthrough video tutorials to show you how to file and form paperwork properly. We have documents and forms in this startup kit. We have operating agreements that you can download and use. We have other agreements like lease agreements, licensing agreements, different types of documents and forms that are typically necessary for you when you have holding companies and separate entities. One of the reasons is because when you have a holding company and you have separate entities, a lot of times you are leasing certain equipment to the other company you own, or you have some type of business relationship with the other company, between your operating company and your holding company, and sometimes you just want to have the proper documentation. We have all that in that course. The second course is the course on creative tax strategies. And so a lot of people don't understand, you have to learn these creative tax strategies. Yes, you need a CPA, you need some professional to work with you, but when you're checking in with that CPA, whether it's a quarterly basis or annual basis, you have to have your stuff in order. You have to know how to work QuickBooks. You have to at least understand the functionality of QuickBooks and how to track income and expenses, and you got to get good enough so that you can start forecasting yourself, so you know how much free pre-tax money you got that you can start moving around to lower your tax liability. A lot of these principles and concepts, like, a professional ain't gonna do this stuff for you. And a lot of times you might not have professionals that do it, that are professionals at doing it. They might not have courses to offer you. They may just do it as a service, and if you go to them expecting for them to just run your books and your finances and your tax strategies, it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. So I'm giving you access to both of these two courses, and the reason why I'm doing it at this price is because I want you to take the next 2 weeks to start studying it, because I want you to join me for the free live event, and then you're able to have a better grip on what we're going to be talking about, and you may be better prepared to implement better strategies. So I'm giving you this offer for $197. So these two courses are typically on my platform for $497 a piece. So that's $497 times 2. This is normally $994 for those two courses. So I'm just giving you these two courses today for $197 because I want to give you quick access to it. You could get access to it today. I want you to start studying. I want you to start learning and educating yourself on the holding companies and tax strategies. And while you're going through the videos within the next 2 weeks leading up to our boot camp, I want you to start jotting down notes that you're going to have and questions that you want to ask. So when we get to the boot camp in 2 weeks, because you've taken these two courses, you're going to have a way better idea on holding companies and tax strategies, and you're probably going to feel a lot of relief, especially if you are concerned about going into the new year and not knowing what your tax liability is going to be, and you don't even know how to bring these books together. I want to help you fix that and figure that out, and these two courses will do it. So these two courses are normally $994. They're $497 a piece. I'm giving you access to these two courses for $197, but you got to reach out to me today, and that's how you're going to reach out to me. You can text Millionaire while you're watching the show to 404-478-7213. I'll be more than happy to speak with you very quickly. And if you know you want access to these two courses for $197, like, come on, man. These courses are $994, and they're worth every penny. These are $497 courses. They're worth every penny. People buy these courses all the time. I can't say they buy them every day. It's getting to a point to where it's going to be like that. But on a regular basis, we have people who don't even reach out to us. They just go to my platform and they buy the courses online. They get immediate access to it from online, and they start learning and educating themselves. But I want to give you this access because you're not going to go to my website and find this for $197. You could go to Ramonepreston.com right now, and you can see how much my tax strategy courses are and how much my holding company courses are. And you're probably going to call me back and say, yeah, let me get that $197, bro. So I want you to reach out to me today, and I want to give you, access to that. So again, Rodney, his question was, can you speak more on the pre-tax income from your operating company while allowing your holding company to invest in additional business? How can your holding company leverage the sister companies to search after lines of credit? Well, both of those questions that you just asked, Rodney, are kind of Both of those questions are kind of tied to two very important things. Both of those questions are kind of tied into purchasing power and creative, what I'm talking about with my one course, creative tax strategies. So for example, Rodney, you're at the top of the mountain. This is you. And you have a holding company. This is your holding company, LLC number 1. And then your holding company owns operating company number 1. It could be some other type of company number 2. I don't know, it could be investment company number 3. Or let's just say you own only one operating company, okay? So I'm gonna show you how the purchasing power works. The purchasing power is like this. Whatever business activity this company is conducting, all of the revenue is going to be, all of the net revenue, net profits rather, is going to be pushed up to this company. But whatever the overall value is of these 3 companies or 4 companies or 2 or however many operating companies you have, these sister companies are going to give this one company more purchasing power because of their overall value. Because with your main holding company, this is going to be your general ledger. So that means whatever money is coming through these other companies, whatever the assets are, whatever the value is of these other companies, all of that is going to show up on the general ledger of this company. So if you owned these companies individually, you would have to go in the bank as the individual owner of these companies, and only the value of that company you could present. But when you own this company and this company owns all these multiple companies, when you go in the bank or when you reach out to lenders, you're actually using the purchasing power of all of them collectively because they are legally owned by the same entity that you happen to own. So that is how that purchasing power works for you and to your advantage when it comes to lines of credit and loans, okay? Now, again, I've seen it happen in ways where people have gotten loans or have gotten lines of credit because of their own personal credibility. I've seen it where people have had opportunities to get loans and lines of credit for their holding company because of the credibility of their operating companies. And I've seen it the other ways where the holding company couldn't get it because it didn't have enough history. It didn't have enough credibility. And so one of the operating companies had to do it until it had enough credibility. So there's always purchasing power in having this structure, okay? The creative tax strategy part is when these companies are owned by one. Let's say if this company has a lot of profit, well, that money that's being passed up to the holding company, especially if you're still in the calendar year, the business year, well, that money can be put into real estate or other investments. And a lot of times when you're moving those pre-tax dollars into other ventures, I'm not a tax expert. This is what I've studied and researched, and this is what I'm not gonna say a lot, but this is what my personal tax person has told me. A lot of times these activities can be considered non-taxable events, but you would have to check with your expert before you make those transactions to make sure that it will be considered a non-taxable event when it ends up here on your when you do your taxes. But for the most part, that's how it works. So again, I want to give you access to these 2 courses, okay? If you want the course on holding companies, and you want the course on creative tax strategies, you're only hearing it here on the show, so I don't, my mind may change by tomorrow. I'm only making it available today. I may not have it available tomorrow, but I want to give you access to both of these courses for $197, and for the next 2 weeks leading up to our boot camp, I want to make sure that you can start studying holding companies and tax strategies, so that when we get to this boot camp in 2 weeks, I want you to join me in whatever questions you have. I can answer those questions, or whatever help you need putting your holding company together, starting a subsidiary, working your books out for the end of the year to forecast into the new year. I want to help you figure some of this stuff out, but I need to get you on this course prior to this. Like all of the people who are in my coaching program, they have access to all my educational courses. And I've been telling as many of them as I can leading up to the boot camp the same thing. Hey, listen, you need to start taking these 2 courses. You need to circle back around and take them again if you've already taken them, but you didn't remember a lot. And you need to be prepared so that whatever questions you have, you can ask during this boot camp, because this is going to be my last event. And you don't want to go into 2023 running a business not knowing if you're going to end up paying too much in taxes, you don't have your stuff together. You got to get this stuff figured out. You can't keep doing the same thing every year thinking you're going to get different results. So if you want this offer, it's $197. This is normally $994 for these 2 courses. I'm giving them to you for $197, but you got to reach out to me today. All right? So you can't say I don't try to help. I try to help as much as I can and give people as much information as I can, but you got to want it. And you got to be willing to pay the price. All right. So I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining the show today. We'll be back here tomorrow, Friday, October the 7th. We'll be back here tomorrow. Same place, same time on the Ramonepreston Show. Text Millionaire or call 404-478-7213.